Chenju Banga, coming from African Tribalist Confederation. I'm here with my man Hindu. I'm gonna let him do his introduction, introduce himself. Me, I'm Chenju. I'm coming from the Yoruba and Bamaleke tribe. Uh, my father's Bambaleke, my mother's side is Yoruba, and we coming with a new wave for the Black conscious community. We coming as tribalists, as African tribalists, and we representing our DNA heritage, and we're not coming with no fairy tales. And just like any other conscious groups, they just make up things as go along, and us, we got facts. It's Yoruba and Bambaleke. I'm gonna let my man Hinduwa introduce himself.
Yeah, Joe Hindawa Songa, Mende by tribe, Sierra Leone. Yeah, like the brother said, we just on our tribal path, you know what I'm saying? Claiming our ethnic identities, you know what I'm saying, and really, getting acclimated, assimilating with our people instead of seeing ourselves as African American still, and we're we had sense enough to know that in this conscious community we were more than just slaves, so those who really care are either picking a an ethnic group, or they're doing their DNA tests, and people are coming home, establishing relationships, and it's time for Africans to start competing for power, world dominance, things that other nationalities are going after.
All right. So, for anybody out there that's wondering what is an African tribalist, I just went ahead and pulled up the definition of the word tribalist, and it says an advocate or practitioner of strong loyalty to one's tribe or social group, and that's what me and my man's is about. We coming off and we claiming our ethnic groups, and as an African tribalist, uh, there been many people doing this way before me. When I met Hindo, why he was already doing this, and I just want to ask Hindo, why, like, if someone was to ask you what is the definition of an African tribalist, what would you tell them?
Well, just like I said, it's one who holds dear to their tribal affiliations. As Africans, they trying to get us to think negatively about tribes, but the European has his tribe, and he's very proud. He puts it in his movies. He's no matter how savage or how brutal society was, he promotes.
That's true. That's true. I'm glad that you mentioned that because here, on Google, when you look up the word tribalist, it has it as a derogatory term. So, if you can even touch on that, what your ideas on that?
Well, that's the whole thing, because when they talk about tribes nowadays, who are they really talking about? They don't really, the world is ran by families, clans, tribes. You know what I'm saying? This is how society forms itself. You know what I'm saying? So nowadays, when you talk about tribes, you don't even think about the white man. You think about Native Americans and you think about Africans. You know what I'm saying? But see, if we start thinking tribally and we start acting accordingly, then what would happen? You know what I'm saying? We would start trying to compete for world power based on our tribal our ethnic and racial identities would become more important. You know what I mean? There are things that we can prove, like we can prove we come from West Africa, and the places that we come from was affected by the slave trade. So even if we're talking about getting reparations and things like this, how are you going to get reparations if you can't prove who you are? You know what I mean? If you don't know who you are, and when you go to that court of law and you start proving your case, you have to take them back to the people that you were taken from. You know what I mean? How they were affected, how it affected you, and you know.
I'm glad that you brought up the court of law because it's a lot of other black conscious groups out there that touches on that court of law category, and we still walking around with our slave names. We don't even have our real names, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. I want you to tell me the story how you got your tribal name because I know you actually went back home. Me,
Yeah.
I received my names from my tribe from reaching out from the internet because in today's technology is really no excuse on why we're not reaching out to our people back on the continent. So no, I have not stepped foot on the continent yet. I'm planning on my trip, but I already received my names through my tribal members that I've already met and been dealing with for the past year and a half, almost 2 years now. But I want to ask you, a brother that been home as a, as one of the first African tribalists I met that opened up the doors for me. When you went home, what experience did you get, and how did the naming ceremony get? And I also want you to kill all the bullshit that Africans don't like us because that's not necessarily true. So I just want you to touch on that and what was your experience and the meaning of your name?
It's like it's hard to put in words in like one single, you know what I'm saying? I could talk for a couple hours and still not convey, the feeling and the whole experience, you know what I'm saying? But going over, man, it's a storybook almost, you know what I'm saying? I'm on the internet, and just like you know what I'm saying, I was named before I actually went back home. You know what I'm saying? Once I found out I was Mende, started reaching out to some of the natives who live in the country, and the people here who knew the culture and were from the country. And through that, man, I met some good brothers, and they named me, and they named me Hindawa. You know what I'm saying? I love the ring, and the sound, the meaning of it means actually means big man. You know what I'm saying? Like not in size, but like stature more so. It's more so like a like chief, like along those lines. You know what I'm saying? And just being an African American, we just don't have meanings to our names, and this is something that I always wanted, like any other conscious, African. So with that, when I go there, I introduce myself as Hindowa instead of my American name, and they loved it. But us looking like them, and we look just like them as African Americans, they were kind of taken aback that I couldn't speak my language, and I had to explain to them who I was and where I came from, and it was like they just couldn't understand it. Some of them, I mean, they know the stories, but you just keep having to reiterate to them because they mistake you for like someone who is like a third or fourth generation Sierra Leonean whose grandmother left or mother left or something like that, and you come back to. But to make a long story short, man, they went and got the cola nuts and the rice flour and the water, and the whole, the imam comes out. The way that they name their children, they did the same ceremony for me, so I was touched.
Now you said they
Um,
got the colonels,
absolutely,
and
yeah,
that's
they
during
did.
the naming ceremony, right?
Absolutely,
And all that
absolutely, yes,
have
sir.
different meanings. Everything, the rice, everything that
Right.
you just named has different meanings, right? If you can tell
You
our
know,
audience the meanings of that.
well, to be honest with you, I don't know the full extent of the meaning. I know that my people say, he who brings cola nut brings life. This is a saying of the Mende. Now, it just may be an African saying, but I heard it among my people. So, but it was just it's just a different experience, man. You know what I mean? Before I went over, I posted a picture of the Paramount Chief, and it's a lady actually. You know what I mean? So I posted the Queen, and I posted like her history, and like she's sitting there with the royal staff, and she got her imperial guards, and so the brothers come on and they say, man, we can introduce you to her. I'm like, man, get out of here, whatever, man. You know what I said? But sure enough, when I get over there, they take me right to the Queen Mother. You know what I'm saying? I kneel at her feet. I didn't want to touch her. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking that but it was nothing, man. She gave me a hug like she was my grand. She says, "You're my grandson." You know what I'm saying? You can come down here anytime you want. You're welcome down here. Anybody who got something to say, come see me. You know what I'm saying? And You know, it's just all love, man.